we are talking to Wayne Altman today. Wayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Yeah,
Wayne.
this is a really interesting conversation for us. So before we get into the interview, I wanted to ask you something. You can weigh in on which side of, well, you'll see. So many audiologists believe that tinnitus is not just a symptom, but a disease. Tinnitus is often associated with hearing loss and other hearing conditions, but it can also adversely affect your health. The question for you is it tinnitus or tinnitus?
Man, that is such a great question. Well, it is definitely not tendinitis.
Right.
I had an interview, went 45 minutes. Every time she mentioned it, it was tendinitis. And
that's hilarious.
How many times do I have to say it? All right.
That's right.
So I've heard it both ways. It is spelled tinnitus.
Yes.
So if you look at it, the word is tinnitus.
Yeah.
But we're used to itis this and itis that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's wrong to say tinnitus. I don't think that's wrong.
Well, I found one site that said that tinnitus was the British pronunciation and tinnitus is how Americans have kind of bastardized it.
Makes perfect sense to me.
So
yeah, aluminium.
Yes,
I needed to be tinnitus. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'll never make the transition.
100%. Hey, listen, me too. You'll catch me saying it two different ways all the time.
Oh, good.
All right.
But I use whatever someone's coming to me with, except tendinitis.
Yes,
Tinnitus.
right. No tendinitis,
No
tinnitus or tinnitus. Thank you so much for that.
And I also agree.
What?
I also agree that it is a disease. It's more, though, of an injury.
Right. Well, and that's what we're going to talk about. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Laura Cathcart Robbins, and this is the only one in the room, but I'm never the only one in this room because, as usual, my boyfriend, producer, and co-host, Scott Slaughter, who I call Hun, is here as well.
Honey, I'm tempted to go, huh?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Hun. So we're talking to Wayne Altman. Like I said, he is an entrepreneur and founder of Melody Clouds, which we're going to talk about. You'll hear all about this incredible invention of his, where he has, it's not an invention, right? Melody Clouds is like a housing of these different,
right.
Right. So, but you'll hear all about that. But I want to start, Wayne, with not the beginning of your story, but the beginning for me of your story, which is when you were a veteran, right? You're a war veteran.
Yep.
First of all, thank you for your service.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for being somebody that I want to serve for. So,
Yeah. Where did you serve?
So I was in the Army, U.S. Army, stationed at Fort Hood. Then I went to 2nd Signal Brigade in Germany, and Desert Storm happened. So, we went to the Gulf and.
Yeah. So you're a combat veteran.
Correct.
Yeah. How was your hearing before you went into the service?
Well, it was certainly impacted by my service. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I mean, you cannot be with an engineer brigade, hear explosions, hear, some of the stuff that, we had to go through. Even the gunfire, the hearing protection was minimal at best.
Right.
And uncomfortable. So many of us, really didn't bother with it. That is not what you reach for when there's incoming fire, is earplugs. Sorry.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
But yeah, prior to that,
I mean, I'm a teenager, so I listened to loud music. I went to concerts just like anybody else. So I never noticed any hearing loss whatsoever prior to my military service.
Okay.
The way it stands now, I'm at about 78% hearing loss.
Wow. Okay. So what do you think, besides what you just described, was there any one incident while you were serving that created that, had a bigger impact on your hearing?
For sure. Miclics, it's a line of C4, blows up mines. So large explosions definitely had an impact. I mean, these are body rattling, concussive, there's several different types of explosions. Some are loud, but there are some that are just concussive. And those are really the ones that I think impacted things more.
Yeah.
Gunfire is, an M16 is not really that loud. M60s, those are loud. Larger machine guns, those are a little louder. But gunfire itself is not as loud as explosions are.
Yeah.
Large caliber.
Sure. I mean, Scott's taken me to the gun range a couple of times, and I have my ears covered, but it feels very loud to me. It's an indoor range. So
yeah, everything is relative.
Yeah.
Speaking relative. And by the way, you should always protect your hearing. I wish I had taken that more seriously. People told me I didn't go around not warned.
Right.
This wasn't something that was a mystery or a secret. I just, for whatever reasons, multiple reasons, but for whatever of those reasons were, either did not have the hearing protection at the time or chose not to use it when I should have.
Yeah.
And more commonly, dentists with the loud drills, they suffer from tinnitus or tinnitus way more than people in the military.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that. So when you returned to the States, did you go like to the hospital to get your hearing tested? Like,
no,
what happened?
Here's what happened. So I am trying to live a life of service. I'm attempting to do that. And I got a letter in the mail from the Army, from Loma Linda Veterans Hospital, asking me to donate DNA for a Million Veterans program. Now, I thought they were going to make a super soldier out of my DNA, and that's not true. They wanted to see any abnormalities, and they are still researching all the abnormalities in my DNA. So I went, and while I was sitting in the chair, she took my DNA. It was one vial of blood, no problem at all. And she asked me, would you mind donating blood? We're doing a blood drive. And look, take what you need. Leave me enough to get home. Whatever. Let's. And so while she was doing that, she grabbed my arm and she said, "When's the last time you had a hearing test?"
Why did she say that?
I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but that is part of the story. So I said, not since I got out of the military. She grabs me up and takes me down to her friend who was the audiologist. They both put me in a booth, put the headphones on, and gave me a hearing test. And I could hear them with even reduced hearing. I could hear them laughing in the back behind me. And I'm sitting there. They come back and she goes, "I knew you had hearing loss before you ever sat down." And I said, "How?" And she said, "Because you were reading my lips and not looking at these." And she pointed at her chest.
Oh, no.
She's used to people looking. And I said,
I shouldn't laugh, but
yeah, that's hilarious.
No, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Because I looked her dead in the eye and I went, "They're marvelous, by the way."
Yeah.
And everybody started laughing. It was very funny. And then she said, "You need hearing aids." And the military would be proud to provide those to you. The VA would be proud to provide those to you.
Wait, so how old were you at this point?
I was in my 40s.
Okay.
So a good 25 years, maybe 20 years since, end of service term.
Yeah.
I left the military in 94, 95. So I went that whole period with the ringing in the ear and the hearing loss. And it's funny because my wife and our biggest arguments are all over volume of the TV. I can't hear it, get very frustrated. She hears it way too loud and she gets very frustrated. So it's very difficult for us to find a show, and everybody sounds like they're we have a big joke in our family where we whisper things to one another. And it's funny because it sounds like everyone whispers to me.
Right.
I also get very tired because when I talk, I'm almost yelling at people, right? Because that feels natural. I'm hearing it at a level that I know, would normally hear it or hear a conversation at. But yeah, so that was the thing.
Wow. So that tired all the time. So I'm sorry. So you get your hearing tested 20, 25 years after completing your service. You have been kind of dealing with this fatigue without even realize that you were dealing with it, from having to strain to hear and yell over people so that you can, what was your emotional response when you found out that you needed hearing aids?
Clarity. Okay. Because that answered a bunch of questions for me.
Right.
Number one, it makes perfect sense that I was tired from, practically screaming every answer. My kids, they think it's hilarious because, here dad comes walking in the room and I talk real loud and, but it also explained to me why people reacted to me the way that they have been reacting to me for years. For years, they had been reacting to me in not a totally negatively way, but a little bit on, taken aback or, I have a bigger personality.
Yeah.
And so that answered a lot of questions for me. Well, I've been yelling at them for the last 20 years. Or people would think that I'm yelling at you for the last 20 years. It's not a very comfortable conversation to have.
Sure. And you're not, in fact, yelling at them. You were just, your
You
volume
didn't
was just
realize I was
louder.
yelling.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Can you tell us what tinnitus or tinnitus is, like, or what it is for you?
So, okay, and that's very important too. That's
Yeah.
very, very astute because it's different in every single person.
Yeah.
So we're finding out that this noise, it sounds like a vibration. It sounds like a low hum. Some people, it sounds like a whooshing where it's waves coming in. Some people, it sounds like a mosquito where it's just a whining. And what we've realized is it's the manifestation of the injury to that nerve. So you're actually hearing the injury itself to the nerve, kind of
really
like a reverb on a guitar or something. That vibration is that injury. For me, it's a very high-pitched, very annoying whine, and it's constant. Right now, I hear just 90% that, and it was a good 5 or 6 years after that hearing test that I discovered binaural beats.
Right. Hit the cough button. I coughed.
I was going to say, did I just go totally deaf?
No, you did not.
Oh my God, it happened.
No, I didn't want to cough while you were talking. We were going to talk about the binaural beats because I think that's fascinating. So this sound that you just described, mm-hmm. This is prior to you discovering the binaural beats. Was it all the time or just like at night?
Every second of every day, unless I am using binaural beats.
Wow.
So if I'm listening to something that has a specific frequency inserted into that bit of music,
right,
the only thing I will hear, not the only thing, but mostly what I hear is this whining, and anyone that suffers, and listen, the people that are listening to this, we're going to identify people who have tinnitus,
mm-hmm.
that they didn't know what the name to put to it.
Right. I was talking to my mom about it, and I told her that for some people it sounds like crickets.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh my God, I hear that all the time."
All the time.
Said,
they think you're kind of walking around thinking you're absolutely insane.
Right. But
when I go to sleep.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
When I lay down, two things with me is I call it mind racing. Okay. So I have all these thoughts going on in my head, and I got to do this tomorrow, and I got to do that. And I got to call so-and-so. And okay. So that's a good 30, 45 minutes of me just relaxing because I'm a pretty highly strung individual. I like getting things done, if you can't tell.
Right.
Now, second part of that is after that kind of goes away a little bit, then I go and I'm listening now to this constant whining. It's a very high pitched, like nails on a chalkboard, only a little bit different than that. And man, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
But was it that when you got out of the military, or did it get progressively worse?
I would say, now this is operating from memory. That's, we're talking 30 years now. It's always from that. I can pinpoint pretty much within a few months of when the injury or injuries happened. And after that, it was,
it was there.
Yeah, it was there, and it's always been there.
Wow.
Since then, it's been there since then. I'm very hopeful that they will come up with a remedy or a cure or a way to heal those auditory nerves,
mm-hmm.
and we'll get rid of this. I donate a lot of money to a tinnitus foundation that, or a lot of money to me, money to a tinnitus foundation, just so I can one day, be totally free of this, not just when I'm listening to, some kind of frequencies.
I did a Google search and on regular eye exams and hearing exams, and it says it recommends getting regular eye exams, is what it said when I Googled that. But it only recommended hearing tests for those who are experiencing difficulty hearing or ringing in the ears. I haven't, I think I told you this when we talked prior, I haven't gotten a hearing test since I've been an adult. My kids, their hearing was tested all through with their pediatrician, from 0 to 18, but not since then. Do you agree with that you should get
No.
regular? You don't agree with that. So tell
100%.
me
I
who
think
should go.
at least once per year.
Yeah.
Just like, look, you have a physical, or you should be, having a physical. I know that, I should be doing that as well. But look, this is a degenerative disease. So no, I would not agree with that at all. Now, I think I know where that's coming from. I think that, look, the insurance companies that are making these recommendations are probably saying, you know what, we can save $200 a year across the board. Doesn't sound like a lot of money,
Right.
but we could, save a whole lot of money, if everybody goes in once every 5 years to get some tests. Maybe that's true, but how often do you use your hearing?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
every minute of every waking moment of the day, you're trying to hear something.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, what we're doing is we're listening
Yes.
to each other.
Yes. We count on the fact that, it gave me a greater appreciation or a greater empathy toward people who can't hear at all.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, which of your senses are you ready to give up?
Mm-hmm. Well, and you told me also when we talked that people don't understand how precious something is until they don't have it anymore.
Right.
But so like with a yearly vision exam, there are interventions one can put in place to prevent, glaucoma from advancing, or to whatever, like if there's irritations or any kind of other disease. Not always, but there are often interventions they can put in place. Are there interventions that would help hearing loss that you know of?
Okay, so once you've lost it, I know of nothing that is going to help you retrieve or get hearing back.
Yeah.
Maybe a cochlear implant, or maybe using a different, bone conductive, perhaps that could be argued. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm not a doctor.
No, I know.
I have done a lot of research in this area, which, to help with melody clouds. But I would say this: the greatest preventative measure is protection of your hearing.
Yeah.
I cannot stress that enough to people. If you're going someplace loud, getting some earplugs, or protecting your hearing, that's paramount. It's all you have. You have a certain amount of hearing, and then it's gone.
It's gone. So you cannot increase it, but it's a possibility to keep it from diminishing even further by protecting it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Jealously guard it.
Yes.
Jealously guard it, because I'm telling you, take the tinnitus, take the tinnitus out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just not being able to sit with your spouse and watch a movie and both of you be happy at the same volume.
Yeah.
It's a bigger thing than you may realize. It's a bigger problem than people may realize. And living with someone that has a significant hearing loss, that cannot be fun.
Yes, this is true. And I think just from like my experience watching television, and I have pretty good hearing, I think, it seems like it's pretty good. But a lot of times they are whispering, it sounds like, and then there'll be a big action scene and it's so loud that if I turned it up to hear the whispering, that I have to turn it back down because the action scene is too loud. I think they could do better with making the sound level personally, but
there was a movie that won the Oscar for audio. And I had seen that movie, And I stood up at the TV and I screamed, give that back, because you did not mix that any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Oh my God. My wife was like, man, have you lost your mind? I am yelling at the
You
TV
were angry.
like, hey, you absolutely don't deserve that award.
That is
Give
funny.
it back.
Do you remember the movie?
It is pretty funny. I don't, and I wouldn't tell you if I did.
You wouldn't tell me,
I don't
right?
need.
Yeah.
I don't need that kind of aggravation.
That's true. They would be coming for you then.
Yeah, they
How
would.
could you say that about blah blah blah?
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a bad movie in a long time, which I don't. Yeah, maybe it's just the movies that I'm watching. But look, they need to pay more attention to that. I really do.
No, I agree. I really do agree. And you're right.
Television too.
Television too. Well, television. I mean, we watch a lot of TV, Scott and I, and it's a night. Like if he's asleep and I want to continue watching TV, that's all I'm doing is adjusting the volume up and down, up so I can hear the dialogue, down so the music or the action doesn't wake him up. And yeah,
I think that that's a sign that people are missing. I really do. I think that that is a crucial sign people are missing, that as a society, as a group, we are losing that sensitivity, that hearing, whether it's because of our actions or whether it's genetics or whether it's just, whatever whatever is happening. I hear and read so many more people that agree with you and say, wait, I'm having to close caption. Why am I closed captioning this?
Yeah.
I have to, and that can't be good. That cannot be good.
No, I agree. And actually that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about next. I read about this former CEO in Texas who took his own life because of tinnitus. I wanted to talk about the toll it takes on your mental health and your physical health. I mean, not in general so much as, but how it was for you and anything that in general as well.
Yeah, I use that as an example a lot when I give talks about this. The Roadhouse CEO of Texas Roadhouse Man. Yeah. I mean, it's very, when you specifically, mention something in the note you leave behind, I think that should, be taken at another level of seriousness. And he definitely suffered, and not to take advantage of that, but I mean, it is definitely something that you can point to and try to explain to people, just because it's so personal. You can't hear my tinnitus. You can't hear what I'm having to listen to right now. And, it is not, and that's why it was so big when I was able to figure out something that actually took that away from me for a period of time. I mean, I started a company that day. I bought the domain that day. Yeah. And started compiling all of these music files and stuff. I knew that if I found the correct frequency, that I could help others find the frequency for themselves. And if they say one more, no, I'm looking way bigger than that. I would like hundreds of thousands of people to find relief from melody clouds for a number of things, because I realized, oh my God, not just tinnitus, not just tinnitus. There's a lot I can help with when it comes to these frequencies.
Right. But just to go back a little, talk to me about, no, it's okay. And we're going to talk more about that too. But I mean, if you're willing to talk about the toll that it took on you mentally and physically.
Oh man. Like I said, and it's almost like I knew that there was an issue. Feeling tired and whatnot. I knew that there was an issue. I was kind of, like I said, manipulated or tricked into, getting it tested and stuff. But once I found out, it was a major relief, and then I could go about trying to find ways of kind of relieving it a little bit. But you're right. I mean, look, it could have, if my wife wasn't as patient as she is, and she is amazing, this could really hurt a relationship. I can see that. No brainer. You're trying to listen to something at one volume, that your partner has got to hear it, at 3 or 4 levels above that. It's not comfortable for either of you.
Right.
The fights, the arguments, just the little nitpicking arguments that we would get into because I couldn't hear what he just said. So I would turn to her and say, what did he just say?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I would imagine that just So that type of stress, and you're a family guy. You're married with kids,
Oh
and
yeah.
you have an intact family, and it seems like you all are really happy, which is lovely. But for people without partners, or for people who have to hear in their day to day at work and are not looking at this issue yet, I would imagine that the stress of it also impacts you physically. The stress
Well,
of,
yeah,
yeah,
and mentally, because I mean, think about how much more difficult finding that partner is going to be if you're
right,
constantly saying, "Huh, huh,
right,
what'd you
right.
say?"
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I mean, that's very annoying. At the best. Now,
yeah,
um, the physical aspect of it, feeling like, hey, let's go out, or oh, I'm not going to go there to that concert, or I'm not going to go to the amusement park because it's very loud and I can't hear anything in loud places, or restaurants. Sitting and having dinner with friends. Just a couple weeks ago, we're in La Quinta, playing golf with a couple buddies, and I'm sitting there at dinner. It's great dinner, amazing food, and my two best friends in the entire world. And I was getting very frustrated because the noise in this room
mm,
was to the point where I could not hear what they were talking about.
yeah,
And it was frustrating. And I could tell they were getting frustrated with me because I was asking, wait, what? I missed that. What did you say?
mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, and you'd have to get beyond that because there's love and you want to be together and blah blah blah.
Oh,
But that's
yeah.
the reality of the
Well, I'm
situation.
hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm hilarious. So, I mean, I wanted them to,
yeah,
have this great experience with me. So,
yes,
was
yes.
interfering.
So then tell me about discovering binaural beats, how that happened, how it was that you discovered them. I know that you didn't discover them, but how you discovered them for yourself.
For me,
And
yeah.
yeah, and then what that did for you.
So I was with a friend of mine, and they were listening to some really woo woo. I call it woo woo music. Some very, their chakras are all bent out of shape
Right?
and
Like new
whatnot.
agey.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
very new agey, music. And I was making fun of them because I'm the least woo woo guy. My podcast would be called the least woo woo guy in the room. Okay, that's what it would be called. And I was making fun of them, and they said, "Hey, have you ever heard of binaural beats?" And no, I did not. I had not. And they explained to me binaural beats is one frequency going in one ear, one frequency going in the other ear. Your brain will actually manipulate the frequencies and give you one single frequency that's between the two.
Mm.
And I'm like, all right, man, my woo woo meter is going off at this point. Because I hadn't done any research, I didn't know anything about it. And let me tell you something, the third frequency set that they played for me, it was like being in a library. It was
Mm.
like it was like being in space or a black hole. And I noticed it immediately. I noticed it.
The noise stopped.
Boom, gone.
Yeah.
I could hear him, but I could not hear.
That.
And I heard the music.
Yeah.
But what I didn't hear was this screeching going on in my head.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, whoa, stop. What happened? What did you just do?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I have them written up here. It was 4:32. It also makes me very sleepy.
Ah, the absence
So I use it
of the sound makes you sleepy.
That megahertz. That our brain waves are electrical impulses, and those electrical impulses can be measured on an EEG. Okay, and at 432 hertz, I could drop you like a sack of potatoes. I mean, it will put you right to sleep.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
it does me. I was like, whoa, man, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to find out that we've done massive amounts of experiments and research. Solfeggio frequencies come from the 11th century. So you're talking now, we've known about this for a long, long, long time.
Right.
This isn't some kind of witchcraft or some kind of new, no. This has been going on very heavily since the 70s, 71, 72. Massive amounts of research were being done.
So solfeggio is SOLFEGGIO.
Correct. Yeah.
What is that? Can you define that for
I
us?
love solfeggio.
Yes.
Solfeggio, this is the way I explain solfeggio. Okay, so a 11th century monk made the observation, didn't really discover it, but he had made the observation and what we call solfeggio. Guido di Arezzo, okay? And Guido noticed, do you play a musical instrument? I do not. I do not play any instrument. Okay. But I would bet that you and I would be able to tell when someone's playing a piano that's out of tune.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
A guitar that needs to be tuned, or someone who's singing off key. That is solfeggio. That is the frequency. We recognize those frequencies. They're wrong. They're bad. They repel even people who cannot and are not accomplished at music or singing.
Right. The brain doesn't want to hear that.
Yeah, man, I'm not trying to hear that. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's solfeggio. Now, getting your brain back to those frequencies, that's what we do in melody clouds. We let you hear the frequencies, the pure frequencies, the ones that you really should be hearing. Now, when I first started this, it was real weird because I didn't believe in all the healing type properties that people were telling me about solfeggio. But as I went deeper and deeper, I started to realize, yeah, this makes perfect sense. And what I mean by that is this. If you have an car accident, they don't leave you in the car. They bring you to a hospital. And they bring you to a hospital because in order for you to heal, your brain must be calm. You must be well fed, warm, safe, right?
Yes.
Because your brain is what dictates all the resources in your body to begin the healing process. It does that through these frequencies. Those brain waves are, sent out to the liver, heal, the leg, send resources, calcium, send magnesium, all of that to the bones. You can only do that when you're calm. When you're, you only begin to heal when you're safe. And so that's what enhances. You can enhance someone's healing through these frequencies because it automatically allows your brain to go in the zone or to be calm and peaceful and start healing.
Wow.
And in that way, it definitely works.
So binaural beat is different than solfeggio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's different because you're putting one frequency with binaural beats, binaural, to one frequency in one ear, one frequency different in the other ear. Your brain then making up the difference, splitting the difference between the two frequencies.
Right. So solfeggio, is it also playing something in your ears?
It is. There's a frequency, solfeggio frequency. It's cutting to the chase. It's getting right down to the frequency that they want your brain to mimic.
Right, right.
And if you like sleep or being calm, 528 or 432, those will relax. Or with 432, for me, 432, I knock right out. It is sleep. And no drugs, no, after effects. It's just listen to this and calm.
Do you listen to it all night? Like, do you sleep with it on or do you slip them off after you've gotten to a certain point?
So I didn't before. And I owe my wife a very big debt of gratitude because she bought me this headband that has these very soft speakers. And I can now go to sleep listening to this. And I could wake up, still listening to the same music. With Melody Clouds, we've cut all of our tracks to be long. So you can sleep or you can, listen to the same frequencies for longer periods of time. Most people I know, though, don't do that. They listen to it. They get in the zone. They, get through their day or they go to sleep and that's all they needed.
Right. So it's kind of like, go ahead.
Well, I met someone through Melody Clouds. I met someone and she told me before she was listening to solfeggio and binaural beats, she was taking cold medicine to get to sleep every night. And it froze me. My whole body went in. What kind of damage to someone's liver could you do? Taking that amount of medication over we're talking 10, 15 years of doing that. That can't be good.
Yeah. So this is drug free. Is this only for people who have tinnitus?
Oh no! I listen. I know at least they haven't reported that to me. I have truck drivers that have sent me emails saying, listen, I listen to 745 and I can drive 40% further and still be fresh. And I'm like, hey, don't do that. Okay. Only they go into but they feel less stressed and
Yes.
they're sharper. Now,
Right.
look, I am not telling you, and please believe me, I am not. You need to use these just like you would use anything else. I can't even imagine listening to the same music for 8 hours.
Right.
That'd drive me crazy.
Sure. So anyone can use this to quiet their brain and or to go to sleep.
Or
Yeah.
to pump themselves up and get ready for a good workout.
Okay.
Or to have you ever felt the emotion of enlightenment? Like you feel like, wow, I just learned something. It's a very fresh kind of tingling feeling.
Yeah.
You can mimic that emotion, that feeling of, oh wow, I just discovered something through binaural beats. It's 963.
963 is the frequency.
Right. And it will help you, and it'll help you feel like, okay, I've discovered something.
Right.
Or if you're trying to heal a relationship, and I've tried this before. I've gotten into an argument with my wife. I sat down with her. We listened to 639 megahertz, both of us in a room, and it helped us recognize really what was important.
Okay, that's incredible. That's really
Isn't
incredible.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so you have the tinnitus, it's screeching in your ears. Someone introduces you in a very new agey way to binaural beats. You become like you're in, like this is it, like you experience the thing you've been longing for, right? Or didn't even know that you were longing for. It's just like the silence that you needed. You discover, you do more research, solfeggio comes into play. How do you make that transition to melody clouds? What happens so that you tell me that?
Okay. This is funny, Laura.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Okay. So this is the type of, this will give you a little bit of insight of the type of person I am. Okay. So when I met my wife, I knew her as a person for 90 days and I asked her to marry me. I knew. Wow. 17 years later, 3 kids later, we are going strong. Best friend I've ever had. Best decision I've ever made.
Lovely.
Yay, Tracy.
Yes.
Okay. So when I was introduced to binaural beats and solfeggio, I did a little bit of solfeggio too. Okay. Within a week, I bought the domain Melody Clouds and it took me 4 days to figure out a good name. What am I going to name this? Because I knew I had a mission. I knew, hey, I got to add this to what I'm already doing. And I really think this could help some people, and no one's going to do it. I'm going to do it. 9 months later, now, about 9 months. 9 months later, we have 300,000 files. We have 2 apps, Android app and iOS app. I have one of the biggest dreams of mine has taken place. I have a very, very dear friend of mine who is in the Radio Hall of Fame, Gary Myers. He is reading Aesop's Fables. Remember Aesop's Fables?
Yes, I do.
I cannot wait for people to hear this man with his voice reading these critically important lessons and passing them along to my children, my grandchildren. It's amazing. So we've got over 18,000 audiobooks. So if someone, look, they don't like music, or some people like to read, some people like being read to.
Yes.
So we have that. I've got Morgan Freeman reading Moby Dick. I've got, tons of books, Wuthering Heights, all the classics, really. That's what I concentrated on. And next month, we're adding 8,000 episodes of old time radio.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is that's my,
like the shows, kiss. The radio shows. Yeah.
The Shadow and Dragnet. And if you've ever listened to these, that's really my jam. I like listening to that kind of entertainment. Because I thought there was a massive gap.
So are these books in a certain frequency or is it just the audio so for someone's listening pleasure.
Right. So the books are just to relax.
Okay.
There's no
Yeah.
binaural beat yet, but that is a very good point. Maybe I could, I know I could add frequencies to that. I will tell you and your listeners a very important secret. I'll kind of open the window a little bit. I am working right now on a way to take any piece of music and add binaural beat or solfeggio to that music while you're working out, so right now we have nature sounds and we have more, I would consider a guided meditation type music.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's offered. That's what everyone has that. That's what is out there. But I have a way, and we're going to be releasing it pretty soon, where I can release, or you could listen to Lady Gaga, for example. You could listen to Ed Sheeran, but you also would be listening to, 936 and actually feel enlightened by Ed Sheeran music.
I would like to experience that.
Yeah, I would too. That's why I decided to do it. And this will also allow you to build your own environment, build your own ambiance around you. So if you like listening to, you're in Iowa and you want to listen to the shore, the seagulls flying and a fire by the ocean, all you have to do is a couple buttons on your phone and you're right there. So there's some big things that we're
that is really, really cool. And tell me, when did you create it? When was it that you bought that domain?
So we bought the domain on June 1st of 2022. So last year.
So wow, this is a baby company that is really done some giant leaps in this because it's not even a year yet.
Correct. Yeah. Not even a year. Right. And we have some big partnerships that we have been able to, people recognize when they see someone that is, number one, charging after their dream. And number two, I was just in Salt Lake City a few days ago. And the whole time I was there, I was watching my daughter play volleyball. But the whole time I was, on the phone and, making all of these things happen that needed to take place. I don't know what a weekend is. I don't play that way. I am very focused on what this is now and where it's going.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So we're going to have links to this in our show notes. And there'll be various ways to get to Melody Clouds. Is there any other way that you want people to find you? Do you want to tell them how they can find you?
Well, they can contact me directly, Wayne Altman at Melody Clouds.
Okay.
That's, probably the best way if they want to reach me.
Yeah.
Melodyclouds.com. That's the website. A lot of this, including this episode, I link to every podcast appearance that I make or every place. I give backlinks. To me, if you put your hand over your plate, I can't put anything on it. And so I am very open to partnerships or to, listening to people and finding ways of making things mutually beneficial to both. You know
Wonderful.
what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And that's how you come across too. You come across as very open to whatever possibility is going to lift the whole, like not just you, but this Melody Clouds is something that you could have enjoyed all by yourself and never share it with anyone, but you decided to make it available to anyone who is interested and will find some relief here, which I think is really wonderful. It's something that I never knew that anybody might need. And so now that I know that it exists, I'm sure I will hear of more people who need it and be able to refer them your way.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you this is an incredible talk. I knew it would be, and I appreciate you.
Well, I did too, because you are extremely good at this. You are very, very good and have a very good team behind you.
Thank you.
And so I definitely appreciate you speaking with me.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Wayne Altman, and I'm the only one that stopped the screeching in his ears.